And tell me about the, because obviously you mentioned 50 couples.
Yes.
Cabins on board, staterooms. I mean, do you classify them as cabins or staterooms?
Well, we call them staterooms because they're not, it's a very good question that actually, because they're not suites, because some of the suites that are on some of the bigger ships now that are probably the size of one of the Sea Dream ships. So they're not suites, but we call them staterooms because they're better than cabins.
Yeah.
They don't have balconies because this is a small yacht.
Absolutely.
And you're outside all of the time. And it's not an issue, actually, for people that at all, because the whole experience is so different.
Well, you've got such freedom to walk around the ship, to
Exactly.
go onto the bridge or just to kind of go.
Exactly.
You don't need that,
you don't, this concept, I mean, it would complete, actually, it's a good question. It would completely kill the Sea Dream ambience if everybody was sat on their balconies on a Sea Dream ship. But they're beautifully appointed. I mean, Bulgari toiletries. It's exactly, and beautiful marble bathrooms. Small because the ship's small.
Yeah.
But we have a pillow menu, for example.
Lovely.
So if you want a certain type of pillow, so all the luxury touches are there.
Yeah.
They're very there, but it's a very relaxed and informal experience. And
is it standard, the accommodation, so all the cabin, all the
well,
staterooms
pretty
are?
much. I mean, we've got a couple of Admiral suites and we've got a couple of Owners suites, which you would imagine, which are placed in nice positions forward and midships, which you can, which obviously have a premium.
Yeah.
But I often say to people, I mean, you're very welcome to take a suite. We're very happy to do that and accommodate, but it's not necessary, really.
No.
If you're on, for example, a big ocean-going ship, and we know what they are, and you're going across the Atlantic or you're on a world cruise, I can see, you're
want to spend a little bit more time in your stateroom, in your cabin.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Not only that, but the balcony becomes, because sometimes on bigger ships, the open deck space may be more crowded.
That's right.
That's why then a balcony becomes that personal
That's
experience.
a very good point.
Whereas
actually.
you don't necessarily need that, do you?
And
because
also,
you've
yes, of
got
course,
your own spot of
if
deck.
you want to, that's a very good point. Sorry to interrupt you, because if you want to dine outside, for example, you do on Sea Dream.
Yeah, exactly.
So you don't, this whole, well, I think I'll have breakfast on my balcony to be in the fresh air. Well, you have breakfast outside anyway. So that's a very good point, actually, that helps articulate that difference. It's and the other thing,
your balcony,
that's a very good way of putting it. The other thing I must mention, which is a very unique Sea Dream feature, when you talk about accommodation and sleeping, we have sleeping under the stars.
Oh,
Which,
right.
And let me explain that, because it doesn't just mean you drink too much champagne and not make it back to your stateroom, although I'm sure that's happened. But no, we have Balinese beds. So we have up on the top deck on Sea Dream. We have a very special one forward, but there are about 16 of these double beds, which during the day are double sunbeds. What you do is you say to the front desk, on Thursday night, I'd quite like to bear with me on this because this is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm already sold. Don't worry, I'm already sold.
On Thursday night, we would quite like to sleep out on deck. So you have your dinner and you see the stewardesses very quietly arrive and set up these Balinese beds they make them up as proper beds. Put some little dividers up and they make up the beds with Egyptian cotton and duvet and pillows. They put a little card on it that says reserved for Mr. and Mrs. Smith, sweet dreams. And any time that suits you, the ship is sailing. If the temperature hasn't dropped below 22 degrees because you're in the Greek islands or the Western Med or the Caribbean in the winter, and you probably go down to your stateroom and you get your Egyptian cotton robe and you get ready and you come up, you sleep on deck. And it's incredible. It's an incredible experience. And people can't believe that there you are under the stars, snuggled up. And the next morning,
sound of the ocean in your ears.
Yeah, we're poodling along at probably 7 or 8 knots, onto your next port of call. And then the next morning, somebody says, good morning, and here's a glass of orange juice and a croissant, and people stretch. And because of the informality, people then, early in the morning, wandering around in their bathrobes, and then they disappear and go and get changed, and then they come up for proper breakfast. And that all disappears back into sunbeds for the day. So that's a really nice thing.
That is absolutely
I mean, when I first went to
incredible.
Sea Dream,
I wasn't aware of that.
No, when I first went to Sea Dream and people said to me, the Balinese bed sleeping outside, I was like, really? How does that work? And they were like, well, it does work. And if you think of the climates that we're in, and again, the intimacy of the ship, it's a great fun thing to do. How many people can say that they've? We're not talking camping here.
No.
How many
Or even
people-
glamping.
Or even yeah, exactly. How many people can actually say that they've slept outside in complete luxury under the stars in the Mediterranean? I mean, it's wonderful. So that's the sort of picture of.
You're painting it. You got me really. You got me almost kind of searching for my wallet.